Hey, Paul here, and in this video, I'm going to talk about how to complete a probate during this pandemic. Okay, so the deal is, the numbers change every day. At the time that I'm making this video, I think about 80,000 Americans have passed away from the coronavirus. Their surviving spouses are stuck at home, not wanting, can't get out because they have health risks. The children who may be in their 50s and 60s, they're all stuck at home. They can't get things done. And the problem is courthouses in the middle of this pandemic, courthouses play a major role in completing probates when somebody dies and getting assets transferred out of their name and into the names of the heirs. Those courthouses aren't processing all of that paperwork at the pace that they were before, which quite frankly was slow before. And the participants of a probate, they don't want to go to a lawyer's office to get business done, to get things discussed. And quite frankly, probably the lawyer, like me, is quarantining or working, not necessarily quarantining, working from home. And so what do? So I thought I'd make this video to make it a little easier to get things done. Probate is stressful, it's lengthy, it's a hassle, it's complicated to begin with. So what do you do in this pandemic to maybe get things done and make things simpler? So here's what I think are the appropriate steps if you've had a spouse, a parent, a loved one pass away, and you're going to be involved in that probate. Here's what you do. I'd say the first step is really to open the lines of communication with all of the participants. You know, if a parent died and there's 4 children, or if a married person died, leaving a surviving spouse and children, I think the lines of communication need to be open, even if you don't even know what's going on. Communication like, hey, I don't know what to do, but I know I can't retitle my husband's car or my father's home. I know there's accounts that are frozen out there, but I just want to open the lines of communication with everybody and let everybody know we're going to work through this. So that's step 1, is just open the lines of communication. Step 2, I'd say, is get in touch with the appropriate, probate, or in Louisiana we call it succession, lawyer, attorney, whatever you want to call it. And so the purpose of getting in touch with that lawyer is saying something like, my mother, father, husband, sibling passed away, and we're pretty sure that a probate is necessary, and so we're starting that dialogue to see what we need to do to get things done. So that's the inquiry made to the lawyer, and hopefully the lawyer says, well, sorry for your loss. I think the appropriate next steps are, let's have a conference call, Zoom call, telephone call, whatever you want to call it. Heck, with iPhones these days, you can put, I think, up to 5 people on the phone at the same time. Everybody's talking. So hopefully the lawyer and that person who initiates the conversation with the lawyer agree that a discussion with all of the participants would be appropriate. Again, those lines of communication, staying open, are so critical to having a smooth, stress-free, not adversarial probate process. So now you've got a call scheduled. It could be just a telephone call. That's the easiest, but some people are getting into Zoom and other teleconferencing calls. That's okay too. That gets scheduled. That could be maybe a day or 2 later from when the initial inquiry is made to the lawyer. And then make sure so that the lawyer can lead the call, make sure the lawyer has access to all of the relevant information, all of the estate legal documents. Maybe the lawyer actually prepared the will or trust or other legal documents of the person who passed away. The lawyer doesn't need the power of attorney. The lawyer doesn't need the living will about life support machines. All that stuff is no longer relevant. Just needs the will and trust documents, if trust documents exist, or even if will documents exist. That's what the lawyer needs to see, really, and prep so that he or she can prepare for that conversation with all of the participants in the probate. Make sure, to the best extent that you can, the lawyer has access to all of the asset information. So I'd say if there's 2 things the lawyer needs to lead a discussion with the participants about the status and how that probate process will move along from start to finish. It's those two things, the legal documents and the asset information. And then that call just quite frankly gets conducted with everybody on board. Again, for the third or fourth time on this video, open communication is the key. And then hopefully the lawyer leads a discussion. Hey, glad to have all of you here. Sorry to be meeting under these circumstances, but it's my understanding that the relevant provisions of the will are this. Named so-and-so as the executor, left the estate this way to these people. Any questions about the interpretation of the legal documents? Nope. Lawyer says it's my understanding that these are the assets and debts that are involved. The person who passed away had a home and had some investments and maybe had a little life insurance, had some bank accounts. There's some funeral expenses due, and there's some credit card bills due, and there's still something left on the mortgage. Anybody have any questions about the assets and debts out there? And maybe there are some questions, and those kind of get addressed with everybody on the phone. Still, nobody's going to a lawyer's office at this point. Nobody's traveled outside of their home. This has all been done electronically with emails and scans and telephones and Zooms and laptops. And then once kind of everybody's on board with the plan as to what's the interpretation of the legal documents, what's the asset and debt information, and what are the steps necessary to get everything done, then it's just a matter of getting those things done, which involve typically gathering information for the lawyer's office preparing the appropriate, let's call them pleadings, which generally consists of maybe petitions to get an executor confirmed, an inventory of the assets and debts that the deceased person had on the date that they died, perhaps a petition where an attorney outlines, based on the legal documents and the assets, how should everything be dispersed to the appropriate heirs so the judge can sign that order. All of that paperwork can get prepared. Again, nobody's left their home. Now, at some point, some documents, depending upon what state you're in and what the rules require, some documents may need to be notarized by the participants in the probate. So you got to figure that out. Whether it's a mobile notary or the lawyer goes to your house or you go to the lawyer's office. Done a lot of drive-by signings. People stay in their car. Here's a clipboard, sign away, see you later. We'll talk to you on the next call. So you got to figure out some of that signatures that require a notary. You got to figure that out. And then, stuff gets filed at the courthouse, and boy, I got no idea what to tell you there because every state is different and every county or Louisiana parish is different. Some are closed, some are open, some are operating under a skeleton crew. Some are handling only emergency type matters while others have to wait. But I will say the further along you can get now, it's going to make things so much easier on the back end when things start to open back up, and then there'll be just this glut of paperwork at the courthouse that needs to be processed, and stuff is going to be delayed even further. So do it now, keep the lines of communication open. The longer this stuff takes, generally the more frustrated the participants get, the more stressful it is on the participants because of all of the uncertainty of delay. And then when it really starts to get stressful, participants in a probate start getting suspicious. Wow, I thought this was only going to take 4 months, and here it's been 9 months. Are they really doing what they said they were doing? I'm kind of suspicious because I haven't seen my inheritance yet. Are they doing something funny? Maybe I should hire my own lawyer to go, check on their lawyer. And you want to try to avoid that at all costs. Okay, so I hope that helps on completing a probate during this coronavirus pandemic. I guess my main moral of the story is don't delay. Quite frankly, probate lawyers around the country are like myself. We want to help people. Even if we have to do it electronically and can't, shake their hands and visit with them in the office, happy to do it electronically. I know lawyers around the country are willing to do that. So get started as opposed to waiting to that backlog that will come up when all this, gets better, whenever that might be. Make sure you also hit the like button, punch the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you'll tell the YouTube algorithms, hey, show Paul's videos to a few more people. And by doing all of that, you won't miss anything. We'll see you next time. I'm Paul Rabelais.